The Biden administration is guilty of the largest human trafficking operation in history. This is human trafficking. I just traveled in airports across the country just the past few days. You know what I saw in our airports? Migrants, illegal aliens, all over in the airports.
Marjorie Taylor Greene sees illegal aliens all over our airports. The blatant racism that's baked into everything she says about immigration is off the charts. Everything she says is also loud and obnoxious.
Then maybe we shouldn't be having hearings on my articles of impeachment to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. Maybe we should be holding articles of impeachment on the President of the United States. Is that where we're going? What do you think about that, Ms. Pearlstein? Do you think, is it a policy difference or is it Secretary Mayorkas? Which one, Biden, Joe Biden, or Secretary Mayorkas?
My impression of the allegations that the majority has raised here is that they are entirely about policy differences with
Ms. Pearlstein, you've talked about policy in your testimony today. Policy. So that would be Joe Biden. I'm sure you voted for him for president. You've been talking about the Biden administration's policy has been the cause of all of this. So is it Joe Biden's policy, the administration's policy, or is it Secretary Mayorkas?
The Constitution, no matter which official.
Ms. Pearlstein asked you a question. Is it the Biden administration or is it Secretary Mayorkas? Not the Constitution. We're not talking about the Constitution.
Greene's only objective in every hearing and proceeding she's allowed to be involved with is to promote herself as this badass fighter against her political boogeymen. And she thinks that yelling at a witness about her opinion on who should be impeached next is a winning move. So if your ears aren't bleeding yet, there was more.
Is it the Biden administration's open border policies or is it Secretary Mayorkas breaking federal law? One or the other. Because the statistics are clear. Are you capable of answering that question?
I'm not sure. Those were about 4 questions.
No, it's one or the other. Biden administration, open border policies, or Secretary Mayorkas.
One or the other what? Who caused it?
That has caused 300 Americans to die every single day. These 2 women sitting next to you's daughters have been murdered. We're talking about over 100,000, nearly 100,000 unaccompanied minors missing in this country. We're talking about cartel members everywhere, the cartel controlling the southern border. We're talking about the massive increase in statistics. It's either one or the other. It's either the Biden administration's open border policies or it's Secretary Mayorkas.
Ma'am, I'm
okay, we'll take
constitutional law.
No, you can't point to the Constitution.
All right, so we're a little over here.
The manufactured anger about border security and the safety of Americans is the only play left for many Republicans that thought the party's planned destruction of Roe versus Wade would propel them to victory. So since that's been a political loser and the party's leader is in court for his illegal activity, the only way to keep the border issue alive is to sabotage any and all efforts to do something about it.
I'm voting no on this package. I think that at this point, this government should not be funded until the border is secured. That's my position. I told that to the leadership and told that to our members and your viewers and everybody else. The issue at hand is if you're gonna fund this government, what you're really telling Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell, for that matter, is that you're not willing to use every lever that you have in order to secure the nation's border. It is the number one thing that is causing serious security concerns in our country. It makes no sense that there have been now 7 million to 9 million encounters at the southern border in just 3 years during Joe Biden's presidency. And House Republicans have an opportunity to actually do something about it right now. And I believe that if you just continue to fund the government for another month or so, while the appropriators figure out how to fund the government, you're not going to have any leverage in order to get border security done. And I think there's a dereliction of our duty as members. So I'm voting no, and I would encourage all of our members to vote no.
After that embarrassing and disastrous year of Republican control over the House, where they booted their own speaker for talking to Democrats, these petulant members are threatening more chaos unless everyone lets them have their way. Byron Donalds also mentioned Mitch McConnell in the same breath as Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden. It's really all you need to hear to know how little these MAGA congressmen care about actually legislating. But, Democrats are pushing back a little bit.
Just recently on CNN, Jake Tapper asked Speaker Johnson, look, President Biden wants to give you more money at the border. Would you take that? And Speaker Johnson said no. Again, just revealing and saying out loud what we all know, which is that they don't want to solve this problem. They want to use it and exploit victims so they have a political narrative. Senate negotiations are taking place right now where, in good faith, Democrats and Republicans are working to try and find more solutions and more resources at the border. And that is dead on arrival here, where Republican colleagues have said out loud, we're never going to support that. That would help the president. They've actually said that. My Democratic colleagues want the fix. MAGA Republicans want the fiction. My Democratic colleagues want the fix. My MAGA colleagues want Fox.